Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the coordinator meeting for July 2025. We have a lot to cover today. I hope you got the agenda. Our meetings recently have had a lot in them. But I just want to say welcome. Glad you're here. Extension is for everybody, and we're glad you could make it today. As WSU Extension Master Gardener Program, we serve the Resilient Washington Initiative, building a healthy, healthy communities, maintaining our natural resources, supporting a secure food supply system, and working to create an adaptable workforce. And as you know, we are engaging university-trained volunteers to empower and sustain diverse communities with relevant, unbiased, research-based horticulture and environmental stewardship education that addresses 9 priorities. Couple of announcements. I recently learned, unfortunately, that the Presidential Service Awards that typically recognize volunteers for 500 hours of service in a given year and 4,000 hours of service over a lifetime have been suspended for an indefinite period of time. So my plan is to still collect the names of volunteers who should be receiving those awards for 2024. So by the end of 2024, any new volunteers who've met the lifetime of 4,000 hours, to achieve that, we'll track it. And then we'll also track 500 hours for 2024. And hopefully when those awards become reactivated, we'll be able to recognize volunteers. But for the time being, that program is on hold. I also wanted to remind you that the WSU Extension Master Gardener Program endowment is still alive and well, and we have a plan with Connors Development and the WSU Foundation to begin sending our volunteers specific information about the endowment. Master Gardener volunteers will be tagged with a code that indicates to the WSU Foundation and Connors Development that they, in their database, that these people will only be contacted for Master Gardener purposes. This was a plan that was developed earlier in the year after we changed the purpose of the endowment and sought feedback from volunteers and program coordinators alike, so that the list of volunteers just recently was provided to Connors Development, and they'll be scrubbing and cleaning up the list and beginning to send direct to Master Gardener volunteers information about the endowment at the end of the year. And again, they will only be contacted for Master Gardener purposes unless they give to WSU for other reasons already. If they give to WSU for other reasons already, then they will continue to be contacted for those reasons as well, and others. If they have not given to WSU outside of the Master Gardener program, they will only be contacted for Master Gardener program purposes. A couple of professional development things for us, reminders. I'm going to turn it over to Jim Kropf in just a second, but I also want to highlight that the Extension Foundation campus has a great course that explores cooperative extension's role and impact from its agricultural beginnings to its community presence today. This could be offered to Master Gardener volunteers for continuing education. If you are interested, it's free, and I think 30 minutes should be plenty of time for a volunteer to complete this. It's just a great overview of land grants and how they came to be. This course will also be a part of Green School before we begin, and I will talk to you about that in a couple minutes. But next, I'm going to turn it over to Jim. Jim, I will stop sharing.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'm having internet unstable messages here at WSUPL pop up.
Uh-oh. Yep. Shoot. Maybe we need to put this off until next month. Jim, I don't know if you can hear us, but you are completely frozen. Thanks, Bridget. Patty, I would say that the 4,000 hours should include continuing education.
Okay.
And that's because the volunteers are still giving that time to learning in an effort to do their job as an Extension Master Gardener volunteer.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Jim got kicked out. So maybe we will just move forward. Hold on, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty now in getting to where I want to be. Where?
Jennifer, will this extension opportunity for continuing education be available on Teams for us to share out, or how will we access it?
The routes to results?
Yes.
Yeah, it's this link right here that's on the slide, and I know you can't grab it, but I will send it out in the
Sure.
e-news.
Okay.
But it's this link. It's a direct link right to the course.
Perfect.
All right, so if Jim hops back on, we can pivot, but I think we'll go ahead and just move on. All right, so next, quality resources. We're going to talk about Green School. I want to let you know that a part of Green School, one of the modules in Green School, will include an orientation to the Extension Master Gardener program. And it will be the slide deck that we've used over the past few years with some updates, specifically to make it accessible, but also a few different notes. This slide deck, the orientation slide deck, is in MS Teams as a draft. So you can see what's there if you want to look at what's there. It's in the 2025-2026 training folder in MG Training Resources. Good. Once this slide deck is finalized, I will remove the draft title. It's really high level information about, WSU, the land grant history, WSU Connors, WSU Extension, the State Master Gardener Program, and the County Master Gardener Programs. We know that a major component to managing, leading successful Master Gardener programs is tied to volunteer connection to the university and the land grant purpose. So it's important for us to be helping our volunteers make that connection and understand that they are serving Washington State University and the land grant mission. So I would encourage you to grab parts of this. You know, it's not a one and done sort of thing. It's communication and teaching that needs to happen on a regular basis for our, you know, trainees and interns and current master gardeners alike. So grab parts of this as you see appropriate and use it in your local volunteer training. And then also the Roots to Results will be a part of the course in the Before You Begin section of Green School, which I'll show you in a second. Any questions about orientation? So these are the things that it will cover. So at the end of the orientation, our interns, trainees should be able to describe the history of WSU related to the Master Gardener program, describe the who, what, and why of the Extension Master Gardener program, and understand the Extension Master Gardener benefits to individuals, community, and in the environment. Right, Bridget. Yeah, I mean, that's part of, I think, what the county local volunteer training should be. All right, so registration. I've been getting a lot of questions about this, and so we are nearly ready. We're actually testing the registration portal with a few master gardeners who agreed to be my testers in a variety of counties. They received a guide from me today, and then we'll use their feedback to make updates to the guide and then get final registration guides to you, hopefully in the first week of August. I was hoping to have them to you prior to that. I wanted to have them to you by the end of July. We hit a few snags with setting up the portal. There will be a web page on our WSU Extension Green School website that will post on August 1st. The links will show up on August 15th, the links to register. So it will be in the top navigation bar on the website. It will be right next to the WGS FAQs. The direct link will be added to the box in the circle. All Green School registrants will use this singular link. There will not be other links for different types of registrants. All registrants will use the link that will be here. The Washington Gardener Certificate Track learners will also, you know, they'll register directly through this link. Trainees and interns and current WSU Extension Master Gardener volunteers will register with instructions from you as the local program coordinator. Those instructions will contain discount codes. So the discount, I'm going to talk to you about instructions with the discount codes for each type of registration. And hopefully you'll have all of that from me in early August. So these are the codes: the EMG intern training code, intern EMG training on scholarship, and current WSU EMG earning CE. The codes, the voucher codes is what they're called. They're all for each category, they're the same across the state. So we'll need to keep the codes, you know, under wraps, so to speak, so that they don't get abused. We know that there's risk with that. But it's manageable. Bryce and I met with the Extension Foundation campus admin, and we think it's manageable. If we learn in our first year of doing this that it's not manageable, we'll have to make some adjustments. But keeping the voucher codes the same makes it much simplified for our registrants and for all of us. Once registered, learners will have the requirement to select group. Aaron, is that you? Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry. No, somebody didn't realize my mic.
Okay. So once learners are registered, they will have the immediate requirement to select their group. This is where the trainee or intern will select their county and become a part of the course that you will be managing. And it's really important that they select the correct group. And the registration instructions, registration guides will include a note about selecting the correct group. So new trainee interns will select the county they will train and serve in, like Chelan Douglas or Asotin Garfield. You're seeing a part of the list here. The list is a full list of every county program. Current WSU Extension Master Gardener volunteers registering for continuing education, the Washington Gardener Certificate learners, and WSU employees, not you. You are all in the course, you will be in the course as teachers, but if you know somebody who wants to take the training as an employee, they will all choose the Washington Gardener Certificate group. There's descriptions here. They are a work in progress. Bryce and I are trying to figure out what the best descriptions for the groups so that it's clear for our learners. Now, I want to say one more thing. It's not the end of the world if somebody selects the wrong group. The beauty of Moodle and Extension Foundation is that Bryce and I have the ability to move people in groups. We don't have to go to non-credit at WSU to make that happen. We can do it pretty quickly for you if somebody selects the wrong group. We'd like to avoid that as much as possible. After they've selected their group, they will have the option to do some practicing in the Before We Begin section. The orientation, connecting people and plants, botany, plant nomenclature, etc., will not be available until October 5th. So it doesn't matter when somebody registers, they will not have access to anything other than the Before We Begin and selecting their group prior to October 5. The Before We Begin gives learners the opportunity to practice using the Zoom webinar link. They'll be able to download the textbook. It'll be linked right there. They can read a Moodle quick user guide. They'll be able to navigate a practice lesson so that they can see what the lessons look like in Moodle. That practice lesson is the From Roots to Results, another way to connect the learner to the land-grant purpose. And if they want, they can download the Moodle app. Bryce and I are going to do the orientation sessions for both tracks. And they will include, WSU, WSU Connors, WSU Extension, County, the land-grant mission, and the EMG purpose for Extension Master Gardener track learners. Any questions about registration before I move on to getting teachers added? Go ahead, Caitlin.
So should we be communicating with our current master gardeners that they should wait to register until they hear from us on instructions, or will the state be sending us a list of who we need to contact?
So I will be providing you with instructions for registration for current Master Gardener volunteers to earn CE,
Right.
instructions for your applicants to register with the code, with the voucher code, and with the scholarship voucher code. So I'll be getting those out to you no later than the end of first week of August.
Right, but I'm just wondering, for us to know which of our current master gardeners are registering, do we send that out as like blanket instruction, or who do we know, or I guess how do we know who to send it to?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so because those current master gardeners will not be in your groups, they'll be in the Washington Gardener Tract group. They will not be in your county group.
Right.
And we want to keep the code as, under wraps as possible.
Yeah.
And so they can either go through me to get it or go through you to get it. I would encourage them to, send out a blanket notice. It's time to register. If you're going to do it for continuing education, if you're interested, contact me or contact Jennifer for the registration instructions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Any other registration questions?
When will folks get access after they register to the pre-course materials?
To the before we begin materials?
Uh-huh.
Immediately upon registration.
Okay, thank you.
So the first thing they have to do is select their group. The second thing they'll be able to do, if they want to, is the before we begin. They will not have access to anything else until October 5th. Sarah, did you have a question?
I was thinking that it was a lot of people to have individually contacting the program office, but now I'm thinking about workarounds and that there'll be some way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe even putting the instructions with the code in a, Master Gardener only section or something like that. I don't know. It will be, the codes will be interesting to see how they work. We may need to make some changes, but this is what we're doing for this year because it's the simplest thing. We want it to be as easy as possible to register.
So Jennifer, will you be sending us a list so that we can look at and say whether somebody is a master gardener that registered for that?
I mean, I think I can probably do VLOOKUPs. I mean, I can download the list of registrants and
Okay.
do VLOOKUPs myself. Yeah.
Okay.
She has them all memorized anyway.
I do pretty well when I see lists of volunteers. I'm like, oh, I think they're in Clark, or I think they're in Yakima, or
You do well. So am I correct in that August 15th is the date that a master gardener can contact me and get the information they need to register? And they can't do it before August 15th.
Well, the registration link won't be live until August 15th.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But we can provide the link and information before the 15th.
Yeah, absolutely. The registration page will go live on August 1st. It just won't have the live link.
And then I was just going to say, Jennifer, as of August 15th, anybody in the world can register. They just won't have the discount code unless they get in touch about that.
Right. Thanks, Bryce. All of that makes sense now? I think it will become more clear to you once I get the instructions The instructions, like I said, are in a test pilot right now with a few volunteers who are going to register early. And yeah, I can share a list of volunteers who sign up for the course with you so you know who they are. Okay, so then the next thing is, oh, go ahead, Katie.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just curious if we're going to talk a little bit about recruitment and how in this conversation.
Yeah, I have a slide at the end that's just like regular old, like what do we still need to talk about? And I think that's on there.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing we need to do is get you as teachers access, as coordinators, access to be teaching assistants, right? So I'm going to send this out separately in an email, completely separate from eNews, separate from this, but I wanted to give you a heads up that it's coming. And we need you to complete it prior to August 15th. So I asked you a little while ago to put your the teachers in a spreadsheet for which of your people in your counties do you want to be teaching assistants. So it's you and then 2 others. So I have that spreadsheet. Some of you have completed it. Some of you have put notes in there like, I'm not sure yet. So if you haven't completed it or are not sure, we need to know who those people are by August 15th. And this process needs to be completed by August 15th. So using the email in the spreadsheet that you've given me, we'll have you go to campus.extension.org to create an account. You'll have to agree to the cookie policy, complete the fields on the screen, and then select the Create My New Account button. Once you've created your account, we will be able to add you to your groups, and then you will have access to the course materials. Our goal is to have everybody added by August 30th. That gives you, the whole month of September you can do it now, Erica, if you want to, but that doesn't mean you're going to have access to the course, right? You will not have access to the course until we get you added to it. And we want to have the materials completely finished before we start adding teachers. That said, Erica, you already have access because you were part of the team. So again, I'm going to send instructions separate for you to do this. And your other support people that you've also added into that spreadsheet also need to do this process for us. Make sense? Yep, I can resend the link to the spreadsheet. It is in Teams if I forget to send it, but I will try to remember to send it. All right, so then I just wanted to have a minute to have some just general conversation. I wanted to let you know that there are new flyers available on the For Volunteers Green School section on our Master Gardener website. Debbie made some flyers. And then these are some questions that I've received recently. So Katie, specifically recruitment's not here, but let's talk about it. So Hari, you have a question?
Yes, I did. So is there a limit to how many people per county can have teacher access? I know that there's only the 2 others that will be done for free, but if I pay for the rest of my mentors, can they have the administrative
Yeah, I remember you asking
ability?
me this. And then Bryce and I had a conversation, and I can't remember what we landed on, Hari. So I want to circle back with Bryce on that because he's the one who, and then I will get back to you.
Okay, I'm glad that it wasn't just me. I was like, I don't remember if you answered me or not.
I don't think I answered you.
Okay.
Like literally when you raised your hand, I should have gone, oh, I know what she's going to ask me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let's talk about recruitment. Caitlin, do you have thoughts or questions, or what do you want to know? What do you want to hear about?
Yeah, I'm just curious how it's going for other folks. I've been focusing, thank you to Deborah for the material that you've put out. I harvested and pirated some of it, and especially social media posts. And I have a calendar and schedule for that. I'm focusing just on recruiting for master gardeners. And then my goal is to switch and recruit for green school or the certificate training kind of towards the end of my recruitment. I only have 6 applications. And I know for us, summer out here, people are really checked out. So I'm excited that we have 6. And I'm curious to see if we'll get more, which I think we will. But I'm just curious how things are going with folks in advertising for getting the Extension Master Gardeners in, and then how they're managing recruiting for green school and talking about it.
Anybody want to share their experience? Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so we had a big backlog of applicants from last year. And the first thing we did is told all of them about both options. And we've been advertising in local journals and blogs and media around the county, and on social media. We've been handing out brochures at clinics. We really don't know. We're focusing on become a master gardener, but we're doing both. We've been doing both the whole time. My concern is that people have a hard time in the summer remembering dates, and I'm a little worried about them remembering that it's August 15th. So far, we have 88 applicants to become a master gardener. This time last year, I mean, our timing is different, and I think people are expecting us to open it in September, and I'm worried about that. But at this time in the recruitment cycle last year, we had over 200. So I'm a little concerned about numbers, but also we're hoping for 110 new trainees. And I think we're on track for that, as long as the applicants we get are really interested in volunteering, not in getting a certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shalane Douglas says, I don't have a single applicant, and I'm a little bit worried that, for so many years, people have they've checked in, the same time every year. What day are the local training classes happening, and does that fit into my schedule? And so people that are used to checking with us, in September or even October, yeah, they're not looking to check in with us, in July. So.
Yeah, Jennifer, and Caitlin, I have, I think it's 6 or 7 in Yakima and 1 in Kittitas. And I'm wringing my hands. I'm calling the newspapers to try to get them to interview me. I'm working it. I'm working the edges. I just, putting some postings on the local radio, because we've been using Facebook, but we're just not getting as the response that I would like to see.
Right.
I also switched my information on the website. The first block of information I had on our county website talks about green school. So I switched it to be the block, become a master gardener first, and then put the green school at the bottom, hoping that small thing might help someone understand it more quickly, because most of the time people are looking to become a master gardener, I think. So, yeah, anyway, any ideas that people have, I'm sure open to it.
I know Snohomish County, Mary's not here, but I know she's receiving a good number of applications. She's beyond where she was last year in this part of the recruitment period. It looks like Erica's doing fine, but this is their normal recruitment period.
I could speak up, Jennifer, too. So Skagit already has around 30 applications, which is quite a bit for us. We usually take around 20 to 25. So we already have a huge number, and I'm still having them roll in. But we have been doing so much to advertise. And I think that's part of the reason why we're getting a really good response. And we're doing a really great job of advertising the new deadline for our application. So I think that's the key for us, is that we've just been blasting it all over the place. Social media, website, blog post, local publications. We've done press releases. We've also done like internal communications with just master gardeners. And I think that's super effective. So if you haven't already done that, I would encourage you to do that. I think I got more applications after I just did that. So I think they're your best people to get the information out. And I just did a radio advertisement. So just get it out there the best you can.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like kind of hit and miss. I mean, some counties are on track, typical, and others are ahead, and others are behind. Go ahead, Caitlin.
This is something that for this specific year would probably be too late for some folks, but what we do on our website is all year long, we have a form that people can just submit their name and email to if they're interested in the program. And then when the application opens, we send a direct email to those folks. And I find that that's where we get like 80% of our applicants. So they'll submit their name any time of year. So February, when we're not taking registrations, but then we still have their contact information to reach out to them.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I used to keep just a list, but having the form would be really nice. Yeah.
Is anybody else kind of holding off on recruiting for the certificate, or is that just me and my county?
We're doing both at the same time.
Both.
I've been kind of minimizing it just because I feel like people are going to be confused. And so I'm not putting it out sort of full. I'm kind of making it a second option if Master Gardener training's not right.
Mm-hmm.
We did 3 in-person sessions with and advertise them, you know, around the local areas. And I used the slideshow presentation I think Caitlin created. And that was really helpful because it put Master Gardeners up front. But if people were starting to feel iffy about the volunteer aspect, then we went into the certificate portion of it.
It'll be interesting to hear about, you know, successes from this first year and, you know, improvements we can make to strengthen it. Another question I was asked by a couple coordinators is, you know, are you allowing certified volunteers to attend local volunteer training? I see Erica shaking her head no.
We are, yes, we're allowing that.
Uh-huh.
We are.
We are.
Yeah. I think some counties do it when they have the space, right? Not all counties have space to do it. And if you have limited space, You know, I used to have to track it pretty closely and only allow the certified or emeritus volunteers to sign up for, you know, 2 sessions at a time. And then if they were, you know, so that they couldn't sign up for all of them, you know, to share the opportunities. So I have recruited for the live review Q&A sessions for both the host and the co-host. And now I want to start recruiting for the content support folks. Ideally, most of those positions would also be filled with coordinators. And then, but if we can't, then I would like to move to volunteers. And then my thought was, if we do volunteers, if you have agreed to, like say Tessa agreed to take, I forget which one she's going to be the facilitator for, maybe she could recruit, you know, 3 of her specific volunteers that she works with already. And I just think that would provide for consistency and cohesiveness in the way that we are serving in those live review Q&A sessions. So that's my thought right now. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's what I thought I would try to do. Thoughts on that?
I like it, but we have a lot of volunteers, so I
Uh-huh.
feel like we could do that.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to continue working on that, and I will be sending you emails to the effect of, you know, serving as content support specialists and recruiting for volunteer help. Keep in mind the idea that I think it would be great to have, you know, if you're a facilitator for that session, to have volunteers from your local counties serving alongside of you. So I'll finish that up in August. We'll do Zoom webinar trainings by the, you know, end of August. And then, you know, you will all have access to Moodle by late August or, you know, early September. We're waiting on a couple more of our subject matter experts to complete their slide decks so we can add them into Moodle to complete the course build out. And we want to have the course built out prior to putting teachers in, prior to putting you in as teachers. Go ahead, Erica.
So those who are going to be serving in the capacity of supporting the live reviews, are we going to sort of get together and strategize, or how would that work?
Yes. Yeah, I plan to host, similar to what I did for home horticulture, we'll host weekly strategy sessions leading up to. So it will be a week ahead. So for the first week, which is botany and plant ID, October 5, we will do our strategy session 2 weeks previous to that, or 10 days previous to that. So, and then we'll just continue with that cadence all the way through. So like 10 days previous to that seemed to work pretty well for home horticulture. We'll get, you know, the instructor, the co-host, the facilitator, content support specialist, all in the room at the same time, so we can talk and strategize and make sure we're all on the same page. One of the things we'll do is to prepare for Q&A is ask the instructor, you know, what are the things that you are going to cover? What are the more complex areas of your topic and what kinds of questions do you expect to receive, and then we can be prepared ahead of time with, you know, links to fact sheets and things like that. Yes, Katie, everybody needs to be registered by September 30. That's when the registration portal will close. Yep, that's actually, yep, you're right. You were on track on your timeline. Any other green school related questions?
Jennifer, can I ask a question
Yeah.
real quick? One concern I'm having, and it may not be valid, is without access to the content, all the content that we're going to offer, I'm afraid that I'm planning activities or content that's already going to be covered in Moodle. And so as I'm beginning to get that plan in place, I'm second guessing myself quite a bit. Do you have some answers for me? Like if we're grabbing some ideas from the folder of proposed lab activities, are we pretty safe with those, or are those being incorporated into some of the education knowledge checks that are happening within Moodle? So yeah, that's my question. If that's, or can you just make me feel better?
You know, I think with this, the Moodle course is very subject matter heavy, right? It's very focused on the subject matter. What we're wanting you to do in the counties is help the new volunteers apply that subject knowledge to being an Extension Master Gardener volunteer. And I think some of those activities in the teams gets at that. And then we also have those competencies. I know from my regular check-in with Rachel Dove, I don't know if she's on or not, she and her team are really focused on hands-on things in the garden and in the clinics, and they're really, I forget what some of the things she had going off the top of my head. Rachel, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'll turn my camera on. I can share a little bit. Yeah, we are going to be doing, so like for the botany and nomenclature, we're going to do like a little scavenger hunt through our demonstration garden, because even in October, we have like a 4 seasons garden where we think we'll still have some stuff that they can walk through and see. We're going to be doing some live, demonstration of how to take some soil samples and then do soil analysis together. So just some hands-on things like that. And so we are trying to connect as much as possible to the spaces that we're in as master gardeners. So when we do that little botany scavenger hunt, we'll be doing that in the demonstration garden. We're going to have a subsequent, we call that botany light lesson. We're going to do a botany heavy where we go to the WSU greenhouse and do some plant dissection and some root dissection as well, and pair that with our soil lab as well. So we're trying to go in kind of back to that preface of connecting plants and people. We're trying to connect them to the spaces that they're going to be doing those things in. And then our first activity we were going to do too, just as a warm up, was going to be having them, after they read Connecting Plants and People, kind of design a small community garden space and talk about what you would want in there. But then we'll physically go to the demonstration garden so they can see, what a community garden kind of looks like. And then we'll have our food garden, who's kind of overseeing our community garden mentorship program, talk a little bit about how that connects to our master gardener programming too.
Right.
Sorry, that was a lot that I threw at you, but that's.
No, I'm glad you shared, Rachel. And then Bridget, the other thing is, and Bryce, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the modules are very much aligned to the new textbook. And so I think if you're doing activities that are in alignment with the new text, which is free and available to you now, you're good to go. So in order, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm taking us off topic of what's being discussed right now, but I just want to put in, and I think I've asked before, and just want maybe to do it as a reminder, that it'll be helpful to us after the August 15th opening to start getting periodic updates on how the signups are going.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Patty?
I was hoping you could direct me to where I could find information about continuing education continuing education for school teachers or people in the conservation district, something like that, that might want continuing education for their job, and how we can use the Green School for that.
Patty, that's something that is going to be coming next year. We weren't unable to get that far with it, like for K-12 teacher clock hours.
Okay.
But and we don't have it for ISA or for certified applicators either. But for any, it's still good. I mean, the curriculum would still provide continuing education for municipalities, for green industry professionals. It just may not suffice for very specific applications of continuing education.
Thank you.
Bryce?
Oh, the other question I had before I leave the podium here.
Go ahead.
So the other question this lady asked me was, she didn't think she could become a Master Gardener volunteer for 3 or 4 years. And she wondered if she had to retake Green School again to become a Master Gardener. And I told her I thought it was a 2-year window, but that she'd have to make a choice in. Is that still correct?
Well, I mean, what we've said is after 1 year, right? And it's up to counties. So like, I know Sarah doesn't really want to offer that because it would really create a huge backlog for her. But after 1 year, if they complete the Green School 2025, 2026, and then come back 2026, 2027 and apply to the Master Gardener program, they would not have to retake Green School, but they would need to do the local volunteer training.
Right.
But beyond that, right now, it's not optional beyond just that 1 year.
Okay. So she would have to pay again and take it again. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Bryce.
Okay, just quickly, I was just jumping back to Bridget's comment, and I wanted to open up for anybody. If you do have specific questions because you're building your curriculum and you just want to know what it looks like in what I've built already, you're building your in-person training, just reach out to me and I can help. We can meet, or I can answer any really specific questions, and just to make sure. But yeah, just to reiterate what Jennifer already said, everything that's in there is just like summary and overview of the textbook itself. So it doesn't include any physical, practical activities or workshops or anything like that.
Thanks, Bryce, for the offer.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay. And Erica, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to Bridget's other point, which is she feels like the topics are out of alignment, and we struggled with that a lot, but ultimately decided that as long as you're cognizant that maybe the Green School is covering vegetables 1 month and you're covering it in another month, it's actually best practices to continue to kind of mix these topics and help people kind of anchor them with relation to new topics. And so we have a lot of things that are out of alignment, but I don't think that's problematic as long as you can help kind of bridge that gap.
Thank you, Erica. All right.
That's more like the actual experience of being a Master Gardener, where you don't decide which topic is going to come up next. I think there's actually some real advantage to that.
There's also quite a few topics that we've found kind of lend themselves to each other or that you can kind of continue building upon as you go, right? Like especially those IPM, plant diagnostic, and even entomology chapters, you know, kind of going, you know, from teaching what the mouth parts of the insect are, what the damage looks like, and then how we identify that in the plant clinic. So you can kind of build two on top of each other, which we found to be successful in our training teams.
Okay, so I want to be respectful of your time, but I also want to let you know of the MOA work, right? So we on Friday sent out the final template draft of the updated MOA. Earlier this week, yesterday, I now know that it is no longer in draft form and it is a finalized template that we can use. So I encourage you to engage with your foundation boards to ensure that their governing documents are in alignment with the MOA. Maybe start with, you know, the foundation president and help identify a small team to do the heavy lifting of reviewing and revising those documents to bring them into alignment and then take it to the broader audience. And then, you know, as you're working with your foundation boards, or if it ends up being an ad hoc committee doing the work, start by looking at, you know, what are the possibilities that this updated MOA provides for us and for the foundations both, right? Don't be stuck in the oh my gosh, this is a change, this is limiting, this isn't going to work for us. Like what are the possibilities that this update can provide? How can these changes strengthen our program and our foundation and the relationship? I encourage you to use the resources that we sent and be on the lookout for an explainer document and sample articles of incorporation and bylaws that you can use as guides. I don't have those ready yet. I needed to wait for the final MOA language to be published before I could finish the work with the State Foundation president and committee on those two other documents. And part of the work of the committee was to really define in the MOA that the coordinator is the liaison between WSU and the foundation and is a ex officio member of the board. That means you're a member of the board, but you don't vote. Of the board and executive committee if you have one. This means that it's your responsibility to ensure that the foundation is meeting WSU expectations for collaboration and support of the program. So there are legal requirements related to nonprofits as well, right? As a coordinator, you can have conversations about those legal requirements and refer to the nonprofit handbook and to the Master Gardener Foundation of Washington State. We're separating out the responsibilities. The WSU side of the house responsibility is really more about making sure the foundations understand, you know, our WSU obligations and expectations for collaboration with an external partner. And the state foundation will support the legal side of it for what foundations are required to do. Next steps really start with, you know, reviewing the MOAs that are currently in place and defining the ones that are way out of date, getting those updated. And ones that are maybe not out of date, but are out of alignment with expectations, we'll get those updated. And through that whole process of getting the MOA updated, the articles of incorporation updated, and the bylaws updated, know that I am and the State Foundation, Tana Hassert, the president, our program, State Foundation, you know, we are a unified resource ready to help you as coordinators and as foundations to get this work done. It is going to be quite a lift. But the entire process has really been with the purpose of strengthening our program and foundation collaborations, building that mutually beneficial partnership or relationship. You know, WSU has legal requirements that it must work within, and in some cases, we're not meeting those. And foundations also have legal requirements and obligations. There are also best practices for working in matrixed organizations like ours, and we'll share those out. That'll be a part of the explainer document. But this work has really defined the parameters of our collaboration and will strengthen and elevate our programs and foundations into the future. Questions? Bryce, your hand is up. Is it up still or is it up again? Must be up still. Lower hand. Okay. Oops. Looks like a couple chat here. Okay, looks like thank you, Tim. All right. I covered this a little bit, right? There's two intertwined processes. One is the review by WSU. The other is the review by Master Gardener Foundation of Washington State to update their chapter affiliation. We'll start with the expired MOAs, get alignment, structure, and processes. We'll be working with foundations who are ready. Everything is going to be driven by our values and our vision of our program. And the goal for me is to have all foundations, you know, reviewed and on the updated template by June of 2027. That tells you how much work this is going to be. We are in 2025. It'll take 2 years, I think, to get all of this done.
We got this.
We got it. Yep. I think that so far the feedback has been positive from many foundations, volunteers. So I think there's a couple that are going to be a bit more of a lift to get through, but we've got it. We'll get it through.
Jennifer, will there be any support from the State Foundation for those sub chapters like Kittitas for review of roles? And
Yeah.
I think we could use it in Kittitas.
Yeah, that's part of what they're wanting to do is connect more regularly and consistently with the dependent chapters.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. All right. One last slide here. Well, the one that we have other slides, but I think they can wait. So, wanted to remind you the M365 adoption, and I'm going to turn it over to Alex to remind you about Open Labs. Alex.
All right. Hey, everyone. So we have our next Open Lab on Thursday, August 7th at 9 a.m. And remember that these meetings will take place the first Thursday of every month at 9 a.m. They were really designed for program coordinators, Master Gardener volunteers, and really anyone interested in trying to learn more about Microsoft 365. And each month we'll be kind of highlighting a topic so that people can kind of learn a little bit more about that. And this month, in August, we're going to be talking about user accounts. And they're going to be talking a little bit about their purpose and goal, the account types and access levels, and then just different kinds of users and that sorts of stuff. So I'll be sending out a reminder about a week beforehand, as well as a couple days before the meeting. So be on the lookout and make sure you advertise that to volunteers. And we will be recording sessions because I've been asked by multiple people if we can record them. So we will be doing that. So thanks. That's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Thanks, Alex. I heard great feedback on the first one, and so I'm looking forward to the next Open Labs.
Awesome. Thanks.
And then the other two things here are just the UFW project. They have a number of foundations that are coming into the UFW, actively working now on getting those sites online. And then, you know, the GivePulse new ad impact workflow went live on the 14th, and I don't know. I mean, it seems like it went pretty well, pretty smoothly. So we haven't seen anything big yet.
Jennifer,
Uh-huh.
I want to say thanks to the GivePulse team, and it's deceptively smooth in our county, and I'm a little afraid that nobody is complaining or yelling, and so I keep waiting for the shoe to drop. But I'm going to say it's because the team did such a good job of getting us ready that that's why it was so smooth. It's so thank you to everybody who's part of that team.
You're welcome. Again, it's thanks to volunteers. Really, the update and all of the test cases, all of the, I don't even know, 165 some odd things that weren't working right were tracked, managed, tested, tracked, managed, tested, tracked, managed, tested by a small handful of volunteers. King County, Chelan Douglas, Pierce, Spokane, I mean, Yakima. It was yeah, if we didn't have the volunteers, I don't know what we would be doing. Great. Yay for smooth transitions. Yeah, very pleased. I will share that feedback with the GivePulse team. Thank you so much. All right, and then one last thing that this is, you know, DEI is at the bottom of this little slide here, but we need to consider changing the name of our committees. If you have a committee, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee in your county, please consider changing the name. And the statewide committee needs to decide what our new name will be. This is not necessarily it. This is a placeholder. And I'll see you in August. Anything else for good of the group? Thank you for staying on. I know it's later than expected, but the Green School conversation was a good one. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.